here today with Brother Michael Dimond to review some of the research that you've been doing over the last year. Research on creation, supernatural miracles, and the Shroud of Turin, just to name a few. Can you tell us some more about your research, brother?
I've tried to go through everything I could on the subjects we're going to be speaking about today. Creation, evolution, a young earth, the flood, the Shroud of Turin, miracles. And it would take I don't know how many hours to present all the information I have. And so therefore we're going to have to move very quickly through this information, touching upon what I feel is the most interesting of the information that I have. Now, one thing people have to realize is that this is not science versus religion. This is religion versus religion. Evolution is nothing more than a pagan religion. There's no scientific proof for it whatsoever, as you're going to see in this tape. And it's a very dangerous theory because what you believe determines how you are going to behave. And evolution has created people like Lenin, Stalin, Hitler. Karl Marx dedicated his book, Das Kapital, to Charles Darwin. And it will continue to create these kinds of people. In fact, atheistic evolution is the official creed of all communists and atheists and a necessary basis for atheism. And so people believe in the theory of evolution because of their lifestyle. They don't want there to be a God. They have these so-called missing links because they say that we evolved from an ape, but they've only been able to produce a couple of these when they should have millions of them. Lucy is the most complete so-called missing link. It was found by Donald Johanson in 1974. The leg bones for Lucy were found 1.5 miles away from the head bones, and the leg bones were 200 feet deeper in a different layer of strata. They were not all found in the same layer of strata or even in the same location. They were scattered over 1.5 miles. And all these supposed missing links have all turned out to be either fully human, fully animal, or fake. And just because some animals have some similar features doesn't necessarily mean a common ancestor. It may mean a common designer. Colin Patterson, he's an evolutionist, senior paleontologist at the British Museum of Natural History. They have the largest collection of fossils in the whole world. And he wrote a book supporting evolution, and someone asked him why he didn't include any missing links in his book. And he responded to this letter. He said, quote, "I fully agree with your comments on the lack of evolutionary transitions in my book. If I know of any, fossil or living, I would have certainly included them. I will lay it on the line, there is not one such fossil." So there's no missing links. There are trillions of fossils that you can study, but there are no missing links, and there has to be if evolution is true. D.M.S. Watson said, quote, "The theory of evolution is a theory universally accepted not because it can be proven true, but because the alternative, special creation, is clearly incredible. You see, a watch demands a watchmaker, a design demands a designer, and a creation demands a creator." And they have all these organs now.
You mean vestigial organs, right?
Right. They originally had 200 of these organs, now been reduced to a handful. They also say that we go through the process of evolution as an embryo. We have these different gill slits. These are actually folds of skin that develop into the respiratory and hearing tracts. One of the most common examples, they say, of evolution is the peppered moth of England. And there you had 95% light moss and 5% black moss. And what happened was you had the factories, they started burning coals, and the trees started turning black from the soot. So they counted the moss again, and now they had 95% black moss and 5% white. And so basically all that happened was the white moth lost its camouflage and was eaten. That's all that happened. And that is a sign of microevolution, which are minor changes in the structure and function of a plant and animal. And macroevolution is something completely different. And it's when the teaching that one kind evolves into another. And this has never been proven by science. And basically the key teaching of evolution is that life comes from non-living matter, spontaneous generation. But there's tremendous complexity in life in our bodies. For example, we have 50 trillion cells in our bodies. Carl Sagan said that in the simplest cell we know anything about, we have information equivalent to 100 million pages of Encyclopedia Britannica. And in the cell, everything is independent and codependent on everything else. There's tremendous complexity in all life forms. For example, this is a little fish called a sailcat, and if you look on one side, you can see the skeleton of the fish. And then if you turn it around, you can see it looks very much like our Lord on the cross. Very interesting. I don't think evolution did that. A Cray computer can do 6 billion calculations per second. Estimates are that the little honeybee has to do 1 trillion calculations per second in order to fly. That means the little honeybee is 166 times faster than the Cray computer, and the honeybee can heal itself. But the conclusion of evolutionists is the computer, of course, is designed, but the honeybee evolved. People ask why the stars are so far away. Very simple. God put the stars very far away. That doesn't prove evolution whatsoever. People talk about alien life forms, extraterrestrial life forms. Well, conditions outside the Earth are far more destructive than probably anyone suspected before space exploration began. Deadly radiation, poisonous gases, extreme gravitational forces, gigantic explosions, and the absence of the proper atmosphere and specific chemical elements. Just the temperature extremes in outer space would make almost any kind of life either so hot that it would vaporize or so cold that it would be completely rigid, brittle, and dead. And many of these space alien civilizations should have technology at least superior to ours and would have colonized our whole solar system, at least with mechanical